Deloris Ruddock's story is a powerful and pivotal part of American history that illustrates the resilience and contributions of African American women during World War II. Still a young woman from Washington, D.C., she joined the Army during a time when the world was at war, and the need for every available resource and every willing participant was critical. She had been a student when the attack on Pearl Harbor occurred in December 1941, a moment that would forever change the course of history. Although she was too young to fully grasp the magnitude of the event at the time, it set the stage for her eventual decision to join the U.S. Army. Her father's own deferral from service during the war only further solidified the significance of her contribution when she made the decision to enlist. Ruddock's enlistment in 1943 marked the beginning of her journey with the Women's Army Corps, WWII. This was a transformative time for the U.S. military, as the inclusion of black women was still a new and controversial idea. Many women, like Ruddock, had never been exposed to the military lifestyle and faced numerous challenges, including the prejudices and segregation that permeated American society. The Army may have offered training and opportunities, but it also came with its own set of limitations, particularly for black women. Upon arriving at Fort Des Moines for boot camp, Ruddock experienced the rigor of Army training, which included marching, standing guard duty, washing dishes, and cleaning latrines. The harsh reality of military life did not discourage her, even though she often found the tasks physically demanding. However, one of the more challenging aspects of her service was not the physical exhaustion, but the racial discrimination and isolation she faced. At Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where she served as a warehouse clerk, Ruddock was one of the few black women in a predominantly white setting. The blatant segregation extended beyond the military, as she also faced discrimination in civilian spaces, such as when she tried to buy shoes in a department store, only to be escorted to the back of the shop where black patrons were expected to shop. These experiences were a rude awakening for Ruddock, reminding her daily of the racial boundaries that shaped much of her life. Despite these challenges, Ruddock's determination remained steadfast. She continued to serve diligently, but when the opportunity to join an overseas unit arose, she eagerly seized it. She was not the only one who sought to leave a hostile and segregated environment for the unknown, and many others, like her, saw this as an opportunity for change. After some resistance from her superior officer, who attempted to deny her transfer, Ruddock was granted permission to join a group of black women who would eventually form the 6/888 Central Postal Directory Battalion. The journey from the U.S. to Europe was dangerous, especially considering the ongoing threat of German U-boats in the Atlantic. When they finally arrived in England, Ruddock and the rest of the battalion began preparing for the task ahead. Their job was to sort and organize the massive backlog of mail that had accumulated in the wake of the war. It was an overwhelming task. They would need to identify the recipients of each letter and package, including determining if soldiers had died and ensuring the mail was returned to the appropriate sender. The work was painstaking and required an incredible amount of patience, accuracy, and speed. Despite the heavy workload, the women of the 6/888 proved their capability and dedication. Ruddock and her fellow servicewomen worked long hours, often around the clock, to sort through the mail. Following their success in England, the 6/888 was transferred to France to continue their work. Again, they were faced with a large backlog of mail that needed to be sorted. However, the women completed their mission in half the time allotted. Their efficiency and dedication were once again proven, and their reputation as capable and reliable workers spread throughout the military. After completing their duties in France, the women of the 6/888 were given the opportunity to participate in the victory celebrations following the Allied defeat of Nazi Germany. This was a bittersweet moment for Ruddock, as it marked both the end of the war and the end of her service. She boarded the RMS Queen Mary for the voyage back to the United States, a journey that was less fraught with danger than her initial voyage across the Atlantic. She eventually returned home to Washington, D.C., where she was reunited with her family. After her discharge from the Army, Ruddock's life took another turn. She attended the Trafalgar School of Fashion on the GI Bill and eventually worked for the National City Bank of New York, where she spent over 2 decades working her way up from storage clerk to platform officer. Ruddock's post-war career is a reflection of the opportunities made available to her as a result of her military service, yet she remained largely unaware of the significance of her role in history. It wasn't until years later, in 2017, when Ruddock was contacted by retired Navy Commodore Carlton Philpott, that she learned about a monument being erected at Fort Leavenworth to honor the women of the 688. This moment was both surprising and deeply emotional for Ruddock, who had not thought much about her military service in the decades following her discharge. However, the dedication of the 688 Central Postal Directory Battalion monument in 2018 gave Ruddock and her fellow veterans the recognition they had long deserved. The monument ceremony at Fort Leavenworth was a powerful moment of reflection and celebration. Ruddock and her fellow veterans were finally honored for their contributions, which had been overlooked for so many years. In the years since, the 688 have become an essential part of the broader narrative of African American women's contributions to the United States military and to the country's history. Her service serves as a reminder that every contribution has the power to shape history. Their work not only helped win the war, but also paved the way for future generations of women and people of color to serve in the military and other fields of public service. If you want to learn more about the incredible story of the 688, check out our full playlist. Just click the playlist link on this video or in the description below. You can also find more videos on our channel all about their mission and impact. And if you like this video and know someone in the military, please share it with them. Thank you for watching.